Rockland News, available on Apple, Spotify, and online at rocklandnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. Here are your hosts, Tom Osa and Mike Kluger.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining us back on AM Rockland's News. I'm your host, Tom Osa.
And I'm Mike Kluger, and we are here with our fellow alumni from North Rockland High School, Seth Cantor.
Raider Pride, guys. Raider Pride. How are you today?
It's awesome. Hey, so Seth is part of the New York Boulders baseball team organization. He's been an announcer for many years over there. You guys are celebrating an unbelievable amount of cool things that have happened over the last, I'd say, several months and what's coming. So, Seth, thanks for being on the show. And I want to get right into it. And you guys, Seth and Mike, have some shared history in the North Rockland area. Mike?
Well, it's not so much shared history as much as like we have a shared experience, but I'm on the beginning end of the decade and Seth's on the end of the decade.
All right, so you're the old guy in this
I'm the old guy.
paradigm here.
Like, we are both products of Mike Roth's wind ensemble tenor saxophone section.
All right.
Like, many years apart, we did not play together, but you know.
Well, there's a camaraderie there.
Well, and it also is something that I love to talk about because the music department has produced such great folk, such as Seth.
Yeah.
So, Seth, do you feel like that the announcing job that you have, it's a performance job? Did any of your time in the wind ensemble help prepare you to do that?
I think so. I mean, class of 99. I started out actually playing the alto sax with Dr. Kelman at Fields Elementary, then went to Nick Feaster and Mr. Martirano at Haverstraw Middle, then Mr. Kafer and Mike Roth, obviously, at the high school. But yeah, I think it helped. I definitely think it helped. It's a performance business. My primary job with the Boulders is I handle the team's corporate sponsorships, partnerships, right? So I work with a number of local and regional businesses, even some national businesses who want to tell the story to our fans here at Clover Stadium. But I did spend a number of years in the broadcast booth, and then my former boss, Sean Riley, came to me and said, "Do you want to be the MC, the host on the field?" And believe it or not, because I also worked for Sirius XM and I worked for WFAN at the time, and you're talking to hundreds of thousands of people at any given moment. But by nature, I'm kind of introverted. So, the thought of being out there every night in front of about 3,000 people, not that it scared me, it was a little intimidating, but I've grown to love that. And that's kind of the name of the game in minor league baseball. All hands on deck. There is no job description. But, the biggest thing for me is, I worked for CBS Radio, which is now Odyssey, for about 4 years, back in the early to mid 2000s, probably mid to late 2000s. And I was on the train one day on my BlackBerry, which we all used back then.
Yeah.
I found out about this baseball team that was coming into existence over at Below, and I said that would be pretty cool. And obviously, they needed people to sell and help make money, and I had that experience and skill set. And I wrote Sean a very long email as to why I felt I belonged there, and after about 6 or 7 follow-up emails, Tom,
absolutely, yeah,
consistent, right? I finally got the job, and I've been here ever since. And just for me, there's a lot of pride here because I would have been at this ballpark every day as a kid. It means so much to me to have this team be successful.
You kind of fell into the job that you love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a job
in the backyard of where you're from.
Yeah, and guys, like, I don't want to get too far off the track because I know we want to talk about the team, but I've been with
no worries.
I've been with big companies and I've been with smaller companies, and I would say this is a smaller company, even though we have a big, beautiful ballpark here. For me, I've always found that my why professionally is, being part of an organization like this where I can really influence and impact the direction of an organization. And to me, that gives me a lot of pride.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. And it's such a beautiful stadium. I got a little bit of background there when WRCR was in the back of the stadium. They had the office for the AM radio station there. And, we were a little web design company back in 2012, 2013. And they gave us some office space in exchange for some hosting. And I got to, after work was done, I did not, just get away from work for a little while and just watch a ball game or a concert or anything. But I have to tell you, it was every time that you guys hosted something over there. And I know the town of Ramapo is such a great partner with the Boulders, just really good vibes over there. And it felt like community, it was Still is.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful ballpark, and I give the town of Ramapo, especially, obviously the supervisor and the Parks and Rec Department, Michelle Antosca. They really, and everybody, who's involved with this stadium, they've really, this is a tremendous ballpark. They've given us a wonderful vehicle for this community, and between us and them, I think we do a pretty great job of maximizing it. The Boulders games, obviously, but all the graduations that the town has here, the charitable events, the colleges playing here, stacked, Dominican. Some high schools playing games here now in this beautiful new artificial turf.
I know. I'm pretty psyched about that.
That the team just put in partnership with the town, obviously. But, it's a game changer because you guys have been to games here and, you pull the tarp and then, the game doesn't just start after the tarp is pulled. There's a lot of work to do, and sometimes it can take an hour, sometimes it can take an hour and a half. And,
right.
Now that's not going to be necessary anymore. No more tarp, about a half hour after it rains, you can get the game going, you can play it. The rain delays will be shorter and, we'll probably have less rainouts as a result, but all the events you can have now back to back to back to back to back, everything you can do.
Yeah.
In terms of the schedule. Yeah, in terms of the schedule now, it's going to be a lot busier here, and I think everybody wins. I think the fans win. I think the team, the town, they win. The colleges who play their games here win. I mean, there's really no downside to this night. It's a really, really big deal.
All right, Tom, you got to take at least 3 breaths because that means Rockland music has to come back.
Hey,
you got to do it, bud. You got to do it. Rockland music.
So here's my deal: is I am tight-lipped on all things at the moment. When it comes out, it comes out, and this is something that I actually learned from a pretty well-established organization such as the Boulders. Is no need to broadcast what hasn't happened yet, but there are things in the works. I do want to focus in on the Boulders, not just the turf coming in, but also a lot of different moves that have happened organizationally over the last several months. And it's in anticipation, and this is your 15th year as the Boulders, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Is that right, Seth?
15th season.
Yeah.
Started in 2011, but we have all these great things happening at once, right? Obviously, the turf, that's the game changer here, and I think it's going to make an immediate impact. I know it's going to make an immediate impact, but it is our 15th season. We've been here a very long time now. 15th season, it is a big milestone. There were some people that thought we wouldn't make it a couple of years. Now we're here 15.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
We're going to hit 2 million fans this year. Probably some point. I would say in July. We're going to hit 2 million fans. We're also celebrating. We have about $1.5 million of charitable activity through our Boulders Community Fund in the stadium this year. And we're revamping our charitable program as well. And, there's a lot of engagement with the schools. We have a wonderful reading program that engages the schools, health-related theme nights, Pink in the Park for breast cancer awareness, everything else that we do, nights for first responders. And, we still do, but, these fan surveys that we've done in the past, we ask people, why do you come to Boulders games? Right. And they tell us, obviously, the team performance is important, but it's everything else. There was one year where they told 70% of the people surveyed told us that they come to the Boulders games for everything else. And we want a good team. And I think being in the New York market where the fans are so savvy, it's important to have a good team. And, we've been in the playoffs, I think all but 5 or 6 years out of the 15 we've been here. So, that's been great. But it's the fireworks after the Saturday games. So
yeah, I've been there for that.
Yep, the kids running the bases and the player autographs after the Sunday games, the giveaways, the bobbleheads, the hats, the theme nights for first responders, firefighters appreciation night that we do every year. I mean, the list is endless. So I think the on-field product is important, but I think equally important is the fact that we do all these different things and really try to be, a great community steward.
I would like to add that, or kind of tip that in the scales of community favor, because I'm a Giants fan. And my fellow Jets fans will also understand because, at the end of the NFL, the Jets were the worst team in football, and the Giants were not very far behind. So as far as on-field product, we will love your team whether you win or lose. We would prefer that you win.
Yeah, well, they made the playoffs last year.
Right. And what I'm saying is that the fans will be fans whether you suck or not. Because, again, us as Giants fans have watched dismal season after dismal season, and we still come back for more. But it's because of the community And it is all of those other things that you guys do at Boulder Stadium. The on-field performances is because you want to back a winner, right? That's part of what we want to do as community. But if the story is that they're struggling, that's still the story too. And we still get to have fun at the stadium, drinking local beer and eating good food and watching shows and doing all those other things. So you guys are doing a lot more than just providing baseball.
Mike, before I get into the Boulders, I'm going to say, please bring us John Harbaugh. Or even Mike Tomlin now. I think he's going to go to TV. But anyway, I mean, that's really what this is about, right? And, in terms of the team and the roster, I think our manager, TJ Stanton, he's going on his 6th year now. He's done a nice job, especially this offseason, of bringing some local guys. We have a guy named Anthony Leak, and he was a pitcher at Dominican. And, Jason Agresti, who's a 30-year-old catcher, but he had his best season last year. He's from Yorktown Heights, and we got a guy from Clarkstown North. He's an outfielder. His name is Dan Talkins. So I think the local guys definitely help. They have to be talented, obviously. That's important. Then, we have a former player of ours, Frank Moscatello, Stack grad from Long Island. He's actually playing for the Savannah Bananas now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I think having that local connection within the community here is very important. But, beyond that, everything we do at the ballpark, like I said, for me, there's a lot of pride in being here in the sense that, being an engaged community partner is really a big part of our mission. Obviously, we want the fans to have a good time, but there's a lot we try to do behind the scenes that doesn't get talked about, and that's okay. But we just, we want to be. There's so many organizations in need in this county. Whether it's fighting hunger or just health related causes. We really try to put our focus with those organizations too. It's critical for us.
And also FDNY, NYPD. You guys have the baseball game every fall between the two organizations, and it's definitely Tunnels to Towers was one of the. Were they part of last year?
Yeah, well, we've had that relationship now for a number of years. The NYPD and FDNY, they've played games at Citi Field, and they've drawn well there. I want to give credit to their president, Jose Vasquez. Sean Riley, our former president. I'm making sure, getting that game here. And as you guys know, this is when it comes to first responders and even the military, I mean, this 100%. Is a very first responder focused and military focused community, especially being so close to West Point. So we always thought that this was the perfect venue for that. And, we expect that game should be back here this year too. It's drawn very well over the years, and it's for a wonderful cause. Yes.
Awesome. You also have a few people that have rejoined the organization this year on the field. We got infielder Kyle Hess.
Yep.
Gare, I got to get better at this, and I apologize. Gare Peters, left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
Sorry, Tom. No, you have a few guys. So you named a couple of them, obviously. Kyle Hess had a terrific season last year. Fritz Genther, second baseman. Santino Rosso, another infielder. But I think the year before, TJ had a very likable group of players. But I think like in any sport, sometimes the core kind of reaches its peak, and unfortunately, you have to make decisions, and you have to and sometimes absolutely. Break it up. And where I give TJ a lot of credit, our manager, he turned over the roster twice last year. He turned it over going into the season, and for some reason or another, it wasn't clicking. All great guys, but it is a business, so he had to turn over the roster in season 2. And a number of the guys he's bringing back are the guys he brought in mid-season. And it was a tough road last year, but he got it to the playoffs. But we played Quebec in the first round. In Quebec, they're like the Yankees. They're like the Yankees of our league. They're just a machine. They've won so many championships. And one of the questions I get, though, is this a semi-professional league? Is it a wooden bat league? Because we're not affiliated with a particular team per se. But the Frontier League, which we're in, a couple of things. It's the longest running independent league. It's been around since 1993. And then, the other part of it, we have 18 teams. Like, this is the largest independent league in the country, guys. We have 3 teams in Canada, Quebec City, which is a wonderful town, Ottawa, and then Trois-Rivières, Three Rivers. But we go all the way south to Jackson, Mississippi, and out west towards the Chicago suburbs. So we have coverage in a lot of suburban markets. So, this is legitimate professional baseball. This is what it is.
And listeners, of Rockland, of those 18 teams, Rockland is the home of one of
New
the
York, yeah.
a competitive team.
It is in a ballpark that's really highly regarded across the country. Still
Mhm.
is. It's aged very well. So this is legitimate professional baseball. So in the sense, but we are what's called a Major League Baseball partner league. So we're aligned with Major League Baseball in the sense if they want to try to implement new rules, they'll come to a league like ours. If they want to make rule changes, we do have the pitch clock now, actually, which has
Really?
sped up the games a little bit. We do.
Okay. All right.
It's definitely worked out for us. And then, we joint marketing programs. We have a play ball initiative that we do with kids on the field every year to try to get them to enjoy the game of baseball and get into the game of baseball. And it's very well attended. So
Yeah.
we have a good
And
relationship with MLB.
it's adorable when the little kids, they run around the bases. I'm like, I can't explain it.
And one of the things that we on the show like to talk about is community involvement and community inclusion. And as we started the show with part of Yours and Mindset, we were part of the band, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the members of the band were also on sports teams. They were part of the yearbook or the newspaper, whatever. And I want to remind all of our listeners who have young children to encourage those children to go and do those after school activities and be part of something else.
Yeah, totally.
Other than just going and learning your basic school stuff, because it yields a lot of really awesome things later in life.
Yeah, another great thing. Oh, go ahead, Seth.
I was just going to say, I'm living it right now with my 8-year-old daughter. She did cheer, and now she wants to get into soccer and it's softball, and she wants to do a cooking class. It's almost hard to juggle. But Mike, I think you bring up a great point. I think obviously, the nuts and bolts of what you're going to learn come from school, but I really think the life skills are what you're doing after school. I think that's important. So I think there's a lot of value in that lesson. Yes.
So we've covered the synthetic turf that is coming in, and it's already installed, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It's all done. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's all done.
We also have some moves by the Boulders in Kyle, Yare, hope I'm saying that correctly, and Anthony. Any other moves that the Boulders are making in the past few weeks? I know that Sean Riley, Sean is still a part of the organization. He's also gotten a promotion at the same time.
Well, yeah. So with Sean, I just want to say he's really had my back over the years, and I think a lot of people in the community really know Sean and appreciate Sean and value Sean for kind of being. He's been the face of the team in the community. Mm-hmm. He's a very humble guy, but
good.
Sean has meant a lot to this team in the community, and he's just very well liked and highly regarded. But so what happened last year was, the Boulders, also bought this ownership group, also bought the Brockton Rocks who are in our league, and the Brockton Rocks were a team that was successful in the mid 2000s. I'd say 2000 up until about 2011. They actually played us here on opening night in 2011 when the late Bill Buckner. Every Mets fan knows Bill Buckner, obviously.
We do.
Thank you, Bill Buckner.
Thank you, Bill.
I got to tell you guys, he really had a wonderful career and just really accomplished baseball.
Oh yeah. I read about that afterwards. He actually, and he was very easygoing. He was like, hey, made a mistake, and he actually had a really good career. Besides that,
he had a great career.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great career, and unfortunately, he's remembered for that play. But anyway, he managed the Brockton Rocks opening night here, June 16th, 2011, when we opened up this beautiful ballpark. But anyway, so the Brockton Rocks were in the Can-Am League, and then they became part of, I guess you'd call it a draft league, an MLB draft league team or a collegiate summer league, and then the community up there wanted to revive the team. So then Sean was part of the group that bought that team, and Sean ran that team last year. He was still part of the Boulders, but Sean was approached for a position with a group called Diamond Baseball Holdings, and one of the teams they own a lot of affiliated teams across the country. And one of them is the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, and Yankee fans know they are the AAA Yankees. They're one step from the big leagues. And Sean was approached to be the president and GM, basically, of the AAA Yankees, the Rail Riders out in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and that's not a job that you can pass up. So he's running them now. He's still tied in with our team a little bit, but Rob Janacek now is our GM. Him and his father, Bill, they own the team. Sean's still part of it as well. But yeah, no, Sean will be missed, but Bill and Rob, they're doing a fantastic job. And we're just, I'm kind of the last man standing right now in the sense that I've been here 15 years. So for me, helping keep the legacy alive is definitely important. There's a lot of, I take pride in that. There's a lot of responsibility in helping me keep this brand going in the community. We're alive, we're well, and we're strong.
Absolutely. And, I have a tendency of, luckily having friends in my life and my social circle that do the same thing. My friend Dan, he worked for an IT company. He started out as just like, doing certain things here and there. But then over the course of time, people left the organization. And, he was, like you said, the last man standing. And he did it in a very, I find that people that do this, they do it in a very casual but well-meaning way. It's kind of like Mitch Hedberg said. He's like, I'm done chasing my dreams. I'm just gonna hang out here and wait until they catch up.
Yeah. I want to hit on something I just said too. Obviously, it's not only me here. We have a wonderful staff of people, very experienced.
Oh yeah, Jessica over there.
Jessica Wilson. I mean, she's really, obviously Rob, Jessica Wilson, she's really the nuts and bolts of the organization. She's really what makes this team go right now. And then, we have, an experienced promotions team, and we brought in some new ticket sellers to try to, really take our attendance to the next level this year. So I'm kind of, speaking tongue in cheek. It's not just me here, obviously. It's all of us. And that's minor league baseball, guys, right? Like, there's no job description in minor league baseball. I mean, whether it's on the tarp, moving picnic tables for a 200-person outing, we've all done it. We've worked a lot of long days and late nights, but we all pull together in the same direction here. And they keep me young. A lot of the kids here, I call them kids. They're half my age. Of course. They keep me young, and I look forward to coming to work every day.
So I would like to know from a Mythbuster place: is there actually crying in baseball?
I haven't seen it. Maybe after about being here 16, 18 hours, I cry when I go home. No, I'm kidding. But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. But I will say these guys, listen, they're committed. It's tough because obviously we want our players to be successful and they want to get back to affiliated ball. And we've had more than about 50 players over the years go back into affiliated ball, and some guys go into the major leagues like the Justin Topas of the world and Steven Cardulos, who are really great stories. And these guys are very intense guys. They leave it all on the field. They're intense every day, and I respect their commitment. They're taking the bus up to Canada. They're taking the bus out to the Midwest in a lot of cases, down south into the Carolinas. So I respect the commitment. I've been on those buses, and that's not easy. They have a much more stronger stomach for it than I do. That's for sure.
There was that. One of my favorite movies, pretty much of all time, is Bull Durham. Yeah. And the scenes where they're on the bus and they're going along, and they crash and Nuke get into let's say a little bit of a scuffle, if you will. And the coach comes over. He's like, "What the hell's happening over here?" He's like, "Nothing, coach. He was going to show me how to throw a curveball."
I will say our buses are a little newer than that. I can thank Jessica for that. But yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Jessica, for that. And this brings up an interesting question. And by the way, I know you have a lot of responsibilities. We're probably going over time, but I'm curious about this. Mike, you brought up the movie. What was the movie from you mentioned before? Well, I brought up Bull Durham.
Right.
Okay. And you brought up a movie where there's no crying in baseball.
Major League.
No, not Major League.
No. League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own. Thank you. With Tom Hanks. Major League, Bull Durham. Do you have any favorite baseball-related movies that you've enjoyed over the years?
Oh, boy. Where do I start? It's kind of silly. It's kind of obviously Major League, right? Like, how could you not love Major League? I did like Moneyball, but, there are people out there that say, well, they stretch the truth in that movie. And, obviously, there's creative license in some of these movies. Major League, Moneyball. I always liked Rookie of the Year. I remember over the summer, my daughter's softball league, they did one of those, outdoor screenings, and Rookie of the Year was there, and I raced to get from the ballpark to that, outdoor screening so I could watch the whole thing. I enjoyed that movie as a kid. My gosh, there are so many. Field of Dreams. How could you not love
Field of Dreams? Yeah.
I could go on and on.
Yeah.
So those probably be the top four, and probably some I'm missing.
There's definitely, there's a few. It's and I mentioned to you before we hopped on the air. baseball, and I got the benefit of being able to, when the WRCR radio was there, I was there to experience the ball games. But I'm fascinated, just from a sports perspective, about the team dynamics that you had mentioned before. Having the right fit of players in an organization, and I think, because we're not able to see what happens, just the dialogue and the coaching and everything from a fan perspective, but you get a good sense of that from some of the movies that are out there. You mentioned Field of Dreams. That's a perfect example of that,
Yeah, I think, in terms of the dynamic, it's hard for me to speak to it because I retired from the Haverstraw Little League with one career home run. I thought I had two, but it got lost in the fog. So over at Bowline, you guys know Bowline Point Park,
Yep.
right by the pond over there in the power plant. But anyway, I think, at this level, obviously talent's important. But I think, buy-in, everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction. You want to have good guys. But I think what's important here, too, is you want to have guys that are understanding of where they are, right? Like, I think fan interaction and interaction with the kids at this level is so important, right? Like, I give these guys a lot of credit. There are some Sunday games where the team loses, tough games, and, they'll stay in the dugout and they'll sign autographs for every last kid.
Right.
Who wants
I
an
see
autograph.
that.
And, the players, our clubhouses, our locker rooms are above ground here. Our players have to walk through the stands to get back to the clubhouse. And there are kids that are lining up like, at the end of the 8th inning, top of the 9th inning to get autographs from kids. So obviously you need the right mix of talent. You want the buy-in, obviously. And I think what's great about TJ is, and our previous managers, they've treated these guys like adults. You hear the term players manager. They haven't been micromanagers. And I think especially today, that's important. But, you want an understanding at this level of, players that have become part of the community. I think our managers, our teams over the years, we've had a lot of guys who have really bought it and appreciated that. And that's critical in my mind.
That's awesome. Well, Seth, it's been a pleasure to have you on the air. This is our new sports roundup that we're aiming to do on Wednesdays after our normal show. You are, and, Seth, I was there for the first run that the Boulders scored back when they opened. You are the first home run hitter on the, well, that's cheesy. All right, you're the first guest on the sports roundup. See, I'm not good at this.
We bring a level of cheese. Sometimes
we
it's
do,
Gouda.
unfortunately.
Sometimes we eat them.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Tom, you can call. I wasn't a good power hitter, even though I like to think I was back in the day. So I wasn't. I had a coach tell me, "You're never going to hit a home run at Bowline Point Park," and it kind of crushed my dreams of batting third or fourth. But you can call me the leadoff man. I don't.
The leadoff man. Perfect.
But you can call me the leadoff man. How about that?
All right.
He's even got the leadoff voice.
Or
Right,
you
yeah.
know what? You can call me the 25th player on the roster. Whatever you want. It's fine.
Well, Seth Cantor from the New York Boulders, and they got an exciting season coming up. When is that starting, by the way, if I can ask?
So we start opening day is May 7th, right? The league went up from 96 to 102 games this year.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we're playing 102, which is a good schedule. It's a good schedule, and we play 54 games here, which I believe is the most we've ever played at Clover Stadium. And we actually have an exhibition game, though, against the NYPD. So we have two games involving NYPD. The NYPD plays the Boulders every year in an exhibition game. This year it's Saturday, May 2nd, and then we have the NYPD FDNY in mid-September after that, after the season ends.
Now, Seth, you're speaking of mostly baseball events, but there are other events that go on at the stadium. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So is there ever a point where the stadium is closed, or is there always something going on?
So, this is where I have to give a lot of credit to the town. Michelle Antoska of Parks and Recreation.
Michelle, yep.
She's amazing, and she's a great partner of ours. She really keeps the ballpark as busy as possible. So I know, she's got a very busy schedule of college games coming up, obviously, with the turf being here now. It opens that up, and there's more she can do. But you have Dominican, you have Stack, you have some high schools that play here. Kids to Pro is a program that they do where little leagues get to play on the field here at the stadium. I think she's working with John Jay, maybe playing a game or two with School of Criminal Justice in New York City. So she's going to have a lot of games on the field. Manhattan University, they're playing their games here this year. They're kind of landlocked in the city, Division I program. So they're coming up here and they're playing basically all their home games at Clover. But it's everything else, right? So the graduations, a number of high school, college graduations, even junior high school graduations.
My daughter walked this past summer.
So all about it then. It started, right after COVID. These schools were looking for a place to socially distance.
Right.
And this, the ballpark, it's a big ballpark, guys. Like it's a 6,000 seat ballpark. So we definitely, Michelle definitely has the space to do that. So we weren't quite sure if it was going to stick. Okay, maybe the first couple of years they'll go back to their schools, whatnot. But it's gained momentum. Like she has more than ever that she's booking. It's usually a week in June when the team's away, and Stack has their graduation here, RCC. But we also have charitable walks here, like the Alzheimer's Association. They have their walk. We have food truck festivals. We coordinate those. Holiday events, the egg hunt.
Food, you say?
So so in terms, listen, it's tough in the winter, obviously, but, from March until about October, the ballpark is busy pretty much close to every day. About 300 events a year, probably more this year, 150 events per year, at about 300,000 people between everything that we do from the boulders and the other events I just mentioned.
Where can the listeners find that list of events?
So it kind of evolved, like anything boulders related. So the food truck festivals, the Alzheimer's, anything that's boulders related, they can go to our website, nyboulders.com. And then, we're on all the social media channels, Facebook, New York Boulders Baseball. We're on X, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. And then, in terms of the town, obviously, I think that would probably start with the town's Parks and Recreations page. But, it's usually promoted through those organizations individually, from what I understand. But so that's kind of how it's broken down.
Yeah, and we also, on Rockland's News, anytime that an event, a charitable or a baseball game, part of the thing that we got the chance to talk about at Starbucks one day was how we can help with that and get the word out about the boulders. Because I really, and again, as a person that just turned 50 years old, just having those community-related events where you could just get together with your friends and colleagues and family, it's so much more important. Yeah. So really thankful that you guys have been around for 15 years and you're just getting started,
You know what they're actually doing? Remember, many years ago when I met Tom, one of the first statements that was his mission, he wanted to put the rock back in Rockland.
That
the
would be
boulders
accurate.
Are literally putting the rock, baseball, rock back in Rockland. Thank you, Seth.
Very much appreciative of that. I actually do have a question for you, and this is off the cuff, but we got a message from one of our listeners, and they were asking, after I reported about the synthetic turf that has been installed and is now going to be great for use over at the stadium, there was someone that mentioned, if you recall, probably like about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more. Remember when the ice skating rink was there?
It was more than 5 or 6 years ago. Sure, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And obviously, one of the biggest challenges was once you finished up on an event, it costs so much money in order to get the fields back in shape, sometimes for the next day. Yeah. Now with the ice skating rink, I don't know, is that, obviously there's decisions the organization makes, but is that feasible for something that could potentially happen, or is that, not a direction?
Hockey and baseball? Is that what?
It's, I remember that. Well, the challenge with that was, and that was through the town.
Through the town, gotcha.
The challenge was they put the rink in, and, I think it was probably 2 of the more warmer winters on record, so I don't think it worked out, and that was one of the reasons why. I don't know. I still think, we're figuring out, between Michelle and the team, we're figuring out the rules of the turf, right? There are going to be certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. Mm-hmm. I do know the lifespan of the turf is about 10 years. Obviously, there's less maintenance. You don't just lay the turf down and do nothing, though. There is routine maintenance that you do have to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
I haven't heard anything about an ice rink coming back. I think we're all figuring out what we can do and what we can't do. We'll probably have a little more clarity on that as we get through the spring and understand what the capabilities are. But, I do know this. I do know this, that between the town and the team, we plan to be very aggressive in what we have here because, I've kind of looked at this as a place where it brings everybody in the community together. It seems like every year I see somebody else from high school that I haven't seen in about 10, 15 years. And then you recognize them right away. A little more gray hair right now, but you recognize them right away. And then, I think, the ballpark kind of brings people together in that way. Right. So
it does. Yeah.
So we're committed to that. We plan on being here a very long time. We're alive. We're well. And, you're going to see more activity now that this turf is here. There's going to be more and more activity as the years go on.
I am excited about it. Seth, anything else you wanted to bring up? Sometimes I jump the gun and thank you before.
We had more to say, Tom. We had more to say.
Listen, guys, this is great. I could talk about this team. I could talk about this team all day long, and it's been a big part of my life now, basically for a third of my life, right? It's just the success of this organization is something that I take very, very seriously. And, I'm invested in it, and the people that work here are invested in it. We're committed to just bringing an affordable, family-friendly product to the fans, not only in Rockland, but really, this entire region, right? Rockland,
yep.
Bergen, Westchester, Orange County, and, we're in it for the long haul, and we're happy to be here and, give fans and guests and, everybody that comes here something special, a great experience.
Yeah. And, we actually, I'm bringing this up just as a business person, that the cost, ticket wise, concessions wise, amenities wise, even the clothing store over there. In terms of the value that you get over literally 3 to 4 hours of time, you got a playground there for the kids.
Oh, right. The playground.
Yeah. Just objectively speaking, it's good, good value for the dollar that, I'm sure we can all agree, it's stretched a little bit. You stretch it anymore, it's going to be like Stretch Armstrong. But, it gives people the ability to really feel like they're appreciated because, you all set this up. And then really be able to spend time with their family and friends. So I think the dollar cost savings alone is a valuable component.
Listen, on that note, so we do have the playground. The miniature golf course is getting a refresh this year. They actually left us some extra turf, and Michelle's team put the turf down on the miniature golf course, so that's going to look nicer. And some other touch-ups are happening around the stadium. You have to do that after 15 years. But in terms of the value, our average ticket price is about $15. Parking's been $5 here since day one. We have not raised the parking at all since day one.
Excellent.
The value that you get, listen, in terms of concessions and, the older crowd with the beers and, the different types of food and the sweets and everything like that. So, listen, I have an 8-year-old. She's obsessed with Aaron Judge, and she's obsessed with Jalen Brunson. Now, the first thing you do when you walk into
Brunson,
Jalen Brunson, and a couple of feet away is Aaron Judge. So, I got a couple of free tickets to Yankee Stadium last year, but still it can be cost prohibitive, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
So I understand that, and the kids want to see Aaron Judge, and they want to see all the major leaguers. But what I notice here with these kids that get autographs from these players, it doesn't have to be Aaron Judge, right? It doesn't have to be Juan Soto. They want to make a connection with a professional baseball player who's going to take a couple of minutes and sign an autograph. I have a friend of mine brought his son and his daughter to the ballpark last year, and they were talking. It might have been Kyle Hesser, one of our infielders, and he was asking for tips on how to play the position, and it was Hess or whoever, spent a few minutes with him and told him, so that's something you get here. That's an example of something special that you get here that you might not get somewhere else.
Yeah. With a high level of talent, like you said, it's a professional baseball organization. So it really comes around full circle. And
more importantly, it's a community center, because even when there's not baseball going on, there's other events, cool stuff. There's other cool events. So even those of you listeners who are not into the sports ball, I will speak as nerdy as possible, and you want to have other experiences, there are other non-sports related things going on at Boulder Stadium. So keep an interest, even though you don't have an interest in baseball.
Yep. So we're going to be following the Boulders very closely this season. Again,
because they're going to win.
Well, I'm expecting that. I'm involved, so it's got to be a win.
Wow.
That was a little overboard. That was a little overboard. I apologize.
I feel like we're taking up Seth's time.
Yeah, we are.
I'll close on this, guys. Right? some organizations, some teams, you have, 1 year special because you had this, another year special because you had that, right? Another year special because you have something else going on. Like,
Yes.
This is really, it's a big year for us because we have the turf, right? We had a video board put in last year, new video board put in last year. But the turf is a huge
Love the
deal.
Jumbotron.
We had the 15th season this year and 2 million fans. So instead of those happening in separate years, like, they're all happening together.
Yes.
And you don't always get that opportunity. So for us, we definitely feel that urgency of bringing it all together and having a really special season. And we hope that fans can come out. We have a great fan base, season ticket holders, partners, everybody. I want to thank them. And we couldn't do it without them. And, we hope they'll continue to support us because they've really been part of the fabric of the organization, and it means a lot.
100%. Absolutely.
Thank you for keeping the rock in Rockland.
Definitely. Seth
Got it,
Cantor
guys.
from
This
the
was
New
a
York.
blast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing this a lot. So, just hop on anytime you want. Wednesdays, 9:30, and we'll have a sports roundup. Let's close out with our sponsors. Hang on one moment because we got to do the music. And here comes that music. Okay. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today on AM Rockland's News. We want to thank our sponsors, Yabu Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, Easy Temp, located in Hackensack, New Jersey, for all your ice machine and commercial refrigeration repairs. That's right. Kobe Sushi. We love Kobe Sushi.
Sushi.
Yeah. Jazz Music Lounge. Music on Wednesdays and Saturday nights.
And corporate parties.
Oh, yeah. Including New York Pickleball, which is opening up this spring. We got Susan Bova, Coldwell Banker Realty, Lauren Molino Muller, Howard Hanna Rand Realty, Whole Shop Bagels in Hampshire, New
The
York.
most delicious bagels in North Rockland.
99 Signs, FZ Perfection, Clean Space Maintenance Management Company, Rockland Music Fest, and the New York Boulders baseball team. I'm your host, Tom Osa.
And I'm Mike Kluger. And thank you, Seth.
My pleasure, guys. Been a blast. Appreciate your time.